Hey, it's your host with the most Razor, aka Mr. Blast from the past, and I'm a time traveler from 1985 with one mission. That one mission is to spread the love of synthwave, synth pop, rich style, vaporwave, and nothing but the best of nostalgia music. This week, I just want to say thank you to all the Patreon backers because it was because of you we're able to get tons of people from the synthwave scene to come in and talk with us this week. So we got Marilyn. So Marilyn is actually a really close friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple years now, and I've been trying to get her on the show for a while. So, um, Marilyn, welcome to Sin Zone. How are
Hi.
you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just barely waking up. I just have to deeply caffeinate myself because I know our time zones are a little bit different here.
Yeah,
So please explain where you're located at right now.
I am located in the romantic city of Paris in France, of course, and hence the time zone. It's like almost 7 p.m. here and it's like 9 a.m. there.
Yep.
So getting us to fix the time zone was a little can you do this? Can I do this? So but finally we're doing it. So
Yeah,
after
it's been
hours.
months. We've been trying to do this for months.
I wanted to be on the show for like episode 303, 313, 333, and now we're like probably episode 1000.
Well, I wish we were on episode 1000. That just tells me I've been on for a while, but no, I think this is going to be on episode 327, I believe. But
Okay.
but yeah, so the first thing I have to go over is how did we meet, which has become a mystery over the last couple of days. So what do you think? I think it's just because we were just like mutual friends with people on like on Instagram or something, or on because I don't even have you on Facebook. I was realizing that right now. I was
Because
just like,
I don't have Facebook. I haven't used Facebook since 2016. And I
okay.
have to mention this since David Bowie died. That's it. Since David Bowie passed, I just stopped Facebook. I don't know why.
Mm.
And I never looked back. Um, but yeah, how do we meet? That's the $1 million question. And yeah, I guess through mutual friends. Through mutual friends. We haven't even met in real life. We
Yeah, and
just
not in person. We've just known each other through the online synthwave scene, probably for a couple years now, and it's just
exactly.
I think we just kind of just I don't know how we
Okay.
bonded. I don't know how we connected, but it's definitely been a distant friendship that I very much cherish. So it's
Oh, I there could be a possibility of Twitch as well, maybe in
yeah,
your
because
first
you were
sin
coming
zone,
yeah
maybe.
you were coming on to our to the Twitch streams very often too. That was like in 2021 when I was on my Twitch grind. But yes, yeah, you did. You had a major presence on the Twitch streams, but we known each other before that.
Before that, yeah.
That's the thing that I because I think we probably started following each other probably like in I would say 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
I think it was just because of just we had mutual friends in the scene, and I think that's just kind of how things happened.
One thing leads to another, as per usual.
Yeah. So how did we meet through the scene? So it was like kind of like something that I think we were just like posting pics on Instagram or videos on Instagram or something like that, and
Yeah.
then we just kind of just kind of connected through that, and I think that's how we just and then we just started exchanging messages and memes and stuff like that, and I think that's just how it happened.
Yeah, and then and as we said, I started coming on Twitch with Sin Zone when you used to do the Twitch Sin Zone,
Mm-hmm.
and also your gaming, your gaming
The chaos of the yes,
streams. That's always pretty cool, and I should come on that again to
yeah,
watch you game.
because now we just got switched over to TikTok, so I've been doing a lot more TikTok stuff lately, but again, a few things about Maryland. So how did you end up in France? Like, because you have what are the origins of Maryland? Is what I'm trying to ask. So where did you come from? Where did you grow up? How did you end up where you're at right now?
let's see how Professor X made me. Since you asked my origins, so I went with X-Men there. Um, let's see, I was born and raised in Singapore, so I'm Asian, even though many people don't think that. So I can pass off as anything I want to. They can't figure me out. So I was born and raised in Singapore, and then I moved to France in 2012 because obviously I got married, and I've been living here. I was living in the southwest at first, near Bordeaux, and I moved to Paris just before the pandemic hit, and now I'm just here. I, it's such a cliche thing because everybody thinks Paris romantic, and they think about the Eiffel Tower, they think about all the Love Bridge and the Louvre and whatnot. But it's a very cool city. I mean, like there's a lot of things to do. I'm a city girl because Singapore is obviously a lion city. It's a
Mm-hmm.
city on an island, and I, I'm not much of a coast girl, neither the mountains, neither the countryside. So when I moved here, it was pretty much freedom for me to do whatever I want. I could go out. Not that I've never gone out there before. It was just more limited when you're living in a smaller village or smaller town in France.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, cultural wise, there's a lot to do. Lots of lots in the music scene, the art scene, and we're talking about indie and contemporary. Not something like very popular or famous. We're talking about smaller. You know how I support the indie and the
Right.
contemporary scene. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here. And there's a lot of food, of course, because I I love to eat. So you can just find anything you want anywhere. Yeah.
O- Okay, so how long have you been in the scene? First off, I just want to say Marilyn has probably been. I'm not gonna. I would say, as from a person who is not like a musician or an artist, you definitely have been a
How did
huge.
I got in there?
Yeah, how like you definitely became a huge influence and promoter in the scene. So I have to ask, how did you end up in the synthwave scene?
Influence promoter, wow, that's a big name because there are so much more influencers and promoters out there like Jules and Rob and Joe from Forever Sin and the State of Sin, and obviously there's a lot more who's been doing Karin, um, there's so many names coming in my head right now, but yeah, I did a small part. I remember when I first started falling in love with the scene, all I could do was share the music that I was listening to then on my Instagram, on my stories, and then I realized friends that didn't know about the synthwave scene started to be like, "Hey, what's that song? That's a good one." And I remember my cousin. She when she first heard "Angel Girl" from Cellorite LA Dreams, she was just like, "That's a good one." And gradually, my friends, started asking me, "Okay, I've never heard this song before. What is this? How come it's not on the radio?" So I have to explain to them that yeah, a synthwave is a little bit more underground
Mm-hmm.
then when it
Then,
was then. Now it's so many. You hear synthwave in so many different genres. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But back 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 then, yeah, it wasn't as big as today. Can we say it's big because it is big,
so
right?
I would say yes, because there's a lot of artists today that take a lot of synthwave influence into their music, such as like the
Retro, yeah,
Weeknd, Dua Lipa, even Taylor Swift has some songs that has some retro vibes into it. So
exactly.
it's definitely more mainstream now than it has been since ever. And I said this before the pandemic started, when the Weeknd came out with Blinding Lights. I knew that synthwave was gonna blow up. I told I
Yes,
was
I remember that.
I was telling everybody. I was just like, yo, now synthwave's not gonna be the same anymore, and it hasn't. It completely changed the scene a little bit. I don't know for the for the good or for the worse. I haven't decided
There's a
yet.
lot of debate back then when the weekend came out with Blinding Lights. I remember. I
Hmm.
remember. There were people for it, and of course there were people.
Who wanted to
I
keep
wouldn't
it
say not.
underground?
Yeah, keep it underground. Yes. So yeah.
So one of the things I was gonna ask you is, or tell you actually, is you're one of the reasons why I got to meet Joe and Rob. Actually, you are the reason why I met Joe and Rob at
Am
Forever
I?
Synth. Yes, I mean, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to connect with those guys and end up in their studio in London, England, back in 2021. So it's because of you. So I just want to say thank you for that experience. Thank you for connecting me with
You're
those awesome
welcome.
dudes. It was a
They're
big deal for
amazing.
me. Yeah, and they're really awesome dudes, and I was very happy to be a part of their show and be a part of that. That was and now I can't believe that's already almost going to be 2 years since I've done that. Well, it has been 2 years since I've done that. So
Mhm.
that's how long we've known each other. That's how long we've been connected. So anyway, so you got a song for us already ready to present, right? So what is the first
Yes, I
song you
do.
want to present for the show?
All right, the first song I'm going to present is obviously from one of my favorite groups, favorite bands, and in the scene. And I think everybody who knows me knows this band. And it's obviously September '87. And this one is a new one from them. Obviously, it's their latest single, Room Service, featuring Mark Seymour, which took a while to be released. And as you know, September '87, when they release something, it's not just a single, it's not just a song or track. It comes with a music video and a story to it. So I love these guys, and I will always love them. Little favoritism right there. But yeah, I'm very happy to present my first song, September '87, the first group that actually got me into the scene. So here we go, September '87, Room Service.
Hey, it's your host with the most, Razor, aka Mr. Blast for the Past, and I hope you're having an awesome Sunday night. If you're listening to the show later on through Mixcloud, I hope you're having a very productive week. I'm back here with Marilyn from
Hey.
Paris, France, where we're just talking about a couple things in the scene. So, I gotta ask, so what got you into the synthwave scene? I know me and you have been in the scene for a while. I've been in the scene since probably 2012,
Mm-hmm.
roughly. That's when I started getting involved in the scene. For you, I
Right.
how long were you in the scene, and when did you start? What got you into it?
Okay, so what got me in the scene? Now there are different factors that got me into the scene first. Okay, firstly, I would like to say that my husband Morgan has been listening to synthwave, retro wave. It was called retro wave before,
Mm-hmm.
or outrun retro wave before synthwave.
Synthwave,
Okay,
yeah, before it was
so
coined.
he was listening to College, the Valerie Collective, Anorak, the Midnight, Betamax, FM Attack before I did, and he used to play in the car, and I would be listening, and I'll be like, okay, this is good, this is good, and of course, at that point of time, I was just like, okay, it's good, and I remember listening to Night Call. Kavinsky Night Call was really big here at one
Mm-hmm.
point of time with the university and college students, and I remember they were playing it at their parties, and then I heard Laserhawk's Star Hustler for the first time, and that's when I was just like, oh, this is a good one. The beat, it's very there's something about it which is very retro, and and I was just like, wow, I was just blown away. I know we haven't heard about Laserhawk since a while. Like I don't
Yep.
even know if he released anything. But and I remember repeating that. And then came the Midnight Collateral. That was a good one. And I remember I don't know who released it, if it was them, but there was a video of the Terminator,
Yep.
the movie Terminator, and Collateral in it. And I was like, okay, this is another good one. Okay.
I know they did a video with using the Terminator
with
clips.
the Terminator
Yeah.
extract, and I remember that. So obviously I was like, okay, this is good. And then one morning I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go on YouTube. Let me see what's up with what's up. I'm gonna listen to my favorite songs. And then a little suggestion came up. September 87, Bad Dream Baby. Now that particular night, I had a nightmare. So I was just like, wait, this is interesting. I'm just gonna click on that and see what's that. Uh, that was in November or December 2017.
Hmm.
Okay. I remember exactly when because I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna look at this. And that's where it that this that was it. September 87 got me into the scene with Bad Dream Baby. The video was perfect. The arrangement, Will's voice was just like, for me, I was like, okay, this is one of the best voice I've ever heard. You know,
Hmm.
best voices that I've ever heard. And I just gradually started finding more and more synthwave tracks, and that's when my husband decided to tell me, "You've been listening to this almost the last couple of years since 2000." Um, since 2009, I've been playing retro wave, outrun synth wave, and you're only discover like really getting into it now. And I'm just like, yeah, but thanks to you, and obviously, like I say, a few different factors got me really into the scene, and these are one of it. My husband and his love for outrun and retro wave, September 87, and of course, Laser Hawk. That was the
So
first few.
so speaking of September 87, you know these guys. You know these artists, right?
I wouldn't know them by proxy. Maybe
Yeah.
I know a lot of artists by proxy, but yeah. Funny story. I sent a message to September 87. I remember sending him a message in January 2018. See, I actually remember these things,
Hmm.
and saying that, oh, I really like, I fell in love with Battery Baby. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard. And I remember they replied straight away. And then straight away I got a follow request. So I was just like, oh, this is cool. This is basically one of the first groups or one of the first artists to actually follow me, September 87. And yeah, I got around speaking with the guys, William, James, Paul, and they're very, very nice guys. As you know, they're down under in Australia, in
Hmm.
Melbourne. And Yeah, that was in 2018. Now it's 2023, and we do still communicate. Not as much as in 2018 and 19, but we do still, um, without fail, every year I send them a birthday message
Hmm.
each, and yeah,
That goes.
just
That goes into my next question is because like I mentioned before, you've been such a huge supporter in the scene and been such a huge promoter also. You've been out there promoting all these synthwave artists for a while, either through your pages or you just put them out giving them shout outs or you just mention them, and then more artists find these artists and they put them on their stuff. I don't know if you know that, like you definitely help influence artists get together for songs. you probably
really.
you probably don't know that,
No,
but
I don't know that at all. No,
yeah.
I never think so. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Joe and Rob as well had given me the opportunity to be the a part of Forever Synth as well, alongside Danielle, alongside Jack and
Hmm.
Morgan as well. There were six of us at one point of time. Of course, Joe and Rob are the main event. We love them and we still love them today. But we did help out with the little stuff, like Danielle helped out with the website. Me and Morgan, I think I was helping them with their Instagram
Hmm.
posting stuff, like whatever that was posted on Twitter. I'll be posting on Instagram. Jack helped out with a couple of I think edits. Morgan as well. Uh, So yeah, they gave me that opportunity, just a little bit to help, but I didn't know that I've been doing that on my own as well. I mean, all I do is actually just share, and whoever likes what they're hearing,
Right.
hey, that's I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think that's how I've been telling people, like a lot of big promoters in the synthwave scene. I've been telling them that, well, you're doing the scene a great value because that's how a lot of artists discover other artists is through us, through our little platforms that we do. And then, we play their song, on their on either through whatever platform, and then another artist hears that song and be like, "Oh, these guys sound great. I want to see if I can work something with them because they have a unique style." And that's kind of how
Exactly.
people get connected. The scene in France. I know you said it's not as big in France. I know you mentioned that to me before, but
Mhm.
what about this? Like, what kind of shows have you been to in France that you got to say were kind of local?
Okay. All right. It's not that we don't have a scene in France. There is, but it's all down to budget and how many people are going to attend. So basically, to have a festival or to have a show, it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Rent the venue, to get all the organizers in, to get sponsors. That costs a lot, and it's not very easy. But basically, festival wise, I haven't really been to any. There is festivals in France. I think in Nantes and in Paris as well, which is funny because the irony is like, when there's a show here in Paris, I can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got something else on, and I think just before the pandemic there was one, and I couldn't make it. Just after the pandemic, I can't remember if there was one, but I think I couldn't go as well. But the shows I've been to were mostly like individual concerts and shows, like Carpenter Brut. I've seen them twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once in Biarritz, France, and then the other in Paris. Spectacular, as per usual. Carpenter Brut, when they put on a show, they put on a show. Everyone is up dancing. And obviously, I've also seen Anorak. Uh, oh, that was in 2011. Anorak in Osgore, France. He
Mm-hmm.
decided to come and DJ at a beach bar, which was perfect. I remember this. And I would always remember that. I was just like, eh, and this was because Morgan, well, wanted to go and see him. So me, my brother-in-law, and Morgan saw him, and then we've also seen a live performance of College and Metalevin from the Valerie Collective, and
Yep.
that was for the Rise of the Synth premiere in Paris, France, at the Gaieté Lyrique. And that was also because
And then Damien is one of our mutual friends as well.
Damien Jackson. There we
Yeah.
go. we have that as well. So through Forever Sin, who kindly asked Morgan and myself to go and do some interviews. We had a chance to interview with the directors and the writers, Iban, Abier, and Damien, of
Mm-hmm.
course. And then we've interviewed Nicola and David, Matlavin and College, which the name College, Valerie
Yep.
Collective, everyone know who they are. So that was an honor to have done that. And then we've got to see
Weren't you a
a live.
patron? Weren't you one of the backers too for the documentary?
No, I
Oh.
wasn't. No, I wasn't. But we. It was nice to finally hear a real hero
In person.
play in real life.
Yeah.
That was perfect. I remember everyone was just like, "Whoa, drive!" and and all the memories, the good memories, were coming back. I think synthwave, the scene itself, the music itself, is just feel good. It's just feel good. It just makes you feel warm and palm tree summer. That's just the aesthetic, but internally, when you listen to a synthwave track, it's just happy. You just feel happy.
Happy nostalgia. It makes you feel for a time where things were simpler, things were easy.
Exactly.
That's the I think that's the general vibe a lot of people get from the synthwave culture, especially us. You know, us growing up pre-internet. You know, we knew a time before the internet existed. So and before it took over our lives. So we have a full understanding of what it was like before that. And me and you, as we're older now, and we kind of engulfed ourselves into the world of the internet, we kind
Yeah.
of wish things can go back a little bit. Go back to the era of cassette tapes, going back to the era of old school MTV,
VHS and
VHS.
MTV.
Yeah. So I completely understand. And then other people like us kind of find that out once we start going to these kind of events. So, Marilyn, we have another song from you that you want to present. So
Yeah.
let us hear it. What you got for us?
What do I have for you? Oh, since we're talking about the scene in France, I'm going to present to you Carpenter Brut. And this is a little bit more, would we call it darker scene? Darker
Dark
scene,
Wave.
more heavier, dark wave. And they put on a good show. If you have, I think everyone's already seen Carpenter Brut live because they tour everywhere. But if you have the chance to see them live, please go. They're very good. And this one's a cover of Maniac from Flashdance.
Yep.
And when Carpenter Brut starts with Maniac, the whole venue shakes. Literally, everyone's jumping the beat, and I'm so happy to present. Can I do it in French? Je
Yeah.
suis content de présenter Carpenter Brut avec le cover chanson Maniac. Enjoy!
Hey, it's your host of the most Razor, aka Mr. Blast of the Past, and we are back with my wonderful friend Marilyn. So, Marilyn, let's
Bonsoir.
let's talk about the state of synthwave currently. So, this has been like probably the biggest topic lately in the scene, mostly
Mhm.
just because a lot of people think it's it's disintegrating. Like a lot of people think it's starting to become a little bit more now that synthwave is more mainstream, I guess we could say now, um, people are starting to feel that the synthwave scene has not been the same since like now that we got like artists like The Weeknd, Dua
Mhm.
Lipa, Taylor Swift, even like Post Malone, Little Uzi X. We got all these new artists now who are pushing that nostalgia feel, that synthwave vibes into their music now.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the state of synthwave currently? Like, what do you feel like the future of synthwave is going to be as a culture and as like a music genre?
Mm. Uh, tough question there from someone who's not a musician or a radio promoter or really. To be honest, I haven't I don't know what's going on in the scene. I haven't really been in the scene. I think I took a step back for a while. But just to say, it will always be there. Synthwave will always be a big influence in the music scene, and it's not going anywhere. It's not dead. Yes, there are many artists or few. There are artists who are going a different direction. You know, maybe adding a little bit more city pop or anime or going into more rock
Mm-hmm.
genre. I think at one point of time that 80s influence became a 90s influence. I think
Yeah,
1 year or during the pandemic, like it moved from like 80s and then the Midnight did a little bit of a 90s style
yeah,
album
with
as well.
more vapor, like more vaporwave stuff, like getting into that kind of
Vaporwave
stuff.
stuff, yes. So the scene will always be there. It's still very alive and well because we're still listening to synthwave today, and as mainstream um, as as it became, I feel like those music listeners who's been listening to Dua Lipa and the Weekend, I feel like through them they would discover other musician and artists in the scene. I feel like it's all linked. Like, okay, I like this song, I'm gonna listen to this,
Right.
and then all of a sudden there will be a suggestion on their Spotify or where whichever music platform that they listen um, their music through, and there will always be a suggestion. Here's the Midnight, or here's um, Jordan F, or here's Kavinsky.
Yep.
People know who Kavinsky is, so
So, like I mentioned before, it's like when I heard, and I remember just like you, sometimes there's a big when there's a big thing that happens, I can remember the time and I can remember the date. I remember it was in October when the single in 2019, the single for After Hours came out, and I remember being in my room with my headphones on, and I remember it was like such a big thing, and I remember I was just like, this is gonna change synthwave. This is gonna change the trajectory of the culture and the scene, and it has. For a lot of people, they don't know if it's for the better or for worse. We don't know. It's still a little bit of a debate right now. But
mhm.
what we know is that the weekend also had a lot of synthwave influence, and like you said, it's going to be suggested on Spotify, on their YouTube, and stuff like that. But because of the pandemic happened right when that song came out,
Yeah,
and my prediction was that 2020 was going to be a big year for synthwave, but of course, the whole world changed in 2020. So
yeah.
even I had shows like ready and booked for the entire year of 2020. Just go take a dive, just because of all the world pandemic and all that stuff. So I feel like synthwave has kind of taken a little bit of a halt, and because of that, I feel like it's just kind of I feel like it's barely coming out of that little halt a little bit, just coming out just a little bit. Because now we had like shows like with Ollie Ride, the Midnight, going doing their selling out shows because they're probably one of the only synthwave groups that are probably could probably sell out and have become very popular to the point where they're almost a little bit more mainstream now, or they become like the leaderheads in the scene. Um,
May I also add that through them they also have they've also invited like supporting artists
right.
like Joy Bishop and all these other artists that will be supporting acts for them, so people get to discover
Mm-hmm.
more of the scene with them.
Yeah, when I saw the Midnight, the last time I saw the Midnight, they presented Flamingosis, and Flamingosis is a great, I would say, vibey vaporwave type artist, and
Yes.
I became a huge fan of him when I got to see him live, and I was so happy because I remember seeing his name on the marquee with the Midnight. I was just like, oh my god, he's gonna be playing tonight too. I'm like, I've never seen him in person, so this is gonna be a treat. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel like the state of synthwave is kind of like slowly coming out of its leeway now that we had like these two major artists selling out these shows. I have a feeling that for 2024, I feel like it's just gonna be a little bit better. So I know that for sure because by the time this episode has come out, I've already probably have seen Kavinsky over at Huntington Beach, and that's how I know that the scene is just slowly getting better. So another question for you is I have is what is your favorite artist? Which one do you want to meet? And which ones have you met that made the biggest influence on you?
Lost Rider has is also one of my favorite artists, and he's been an influence, a huge influence. The first quarter of the year. I was just listening to Lost Rider, his old tracks, his newer tracks, and he is one of the artists that was changing a little bit, adding a little bit of Japanese anime influence into his music, and also a little bit more heavier, darker witch house um, vibes into his music. And I have to definitely thank him for that, Nathan. Thank you for being a huge influence in my music scene. I also like Celorac, LA Dreams. He's amazing. Anything he puts out, and we know that Celorac releases music almost
all the
every
time.
two, yeah,
Yeah.
all the time, every 2 months, we'll hear something new, and it's always something different. Um, and of course, I love Arkeys music. This 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 one, this Marius, he's a little less known. I feel,
Hmm.
but he has some really really great tracks, and some of my favorite are from his album Shaman's Journey, Dark Orchid, Animation Day. They're some of the tracks that I've listened to a lot,
Hmm.
and there's so many more that I would love to mention. Kid Burn, Micromat Scenes, Dream Fiend. Oh my word! How can I forget Dream Fiend, who I've met recently at my workplace at the airport for just 30 minutes, because he went to Ireland, and then he was just traveling Europe, and then he wanted to stop over in Paris for a day, but that didn't happen. And we just met for 30 minutes before he took the plane back to Australia.
Hmm.
So for that 30 minutes where I work, thank heavens I'm working at the Paris airport. I got to meet Jay Dreamfiend, who is an amazing person, an amazing synthwave artist. So yeah, thank you to this amazing bunch of artists who I listen to on a daily basis. And when I say daily basis, like on my commute
Yep.
all the time. So yeah.
So we got to talk about some crazy synthwave stories. So give me one crazy synthwave story that is on the top of your head that you can mention that either it was really fun, funny, if, just
Okay.
make sure to keep it the rating down. You know what I'm saying? So just let me know. So what crazy story you got for us?
All right. Some of the craziest stories actually happen in at Retro Future Fest. Okay, so you know how we follow each other on Instagram,
Right.
and then we'll be like, okay, I'm following this person or this person. So at Retro Future Fest happens. So um, I well, Patrick Bateman decided to take a group picture of all of us, and back then I didn't know Rob and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
From Forever
but
Synth.
I
Yes.
yeah from Forever Since, but we were already following each other like a week or two before. Okay, just before Retro Future Fest, and we thought we never met each other, but we've actually been in the same picture altogether. Me, Rob, Joe happened to be in the same picture with Glenn and Patrick Figman and James, one of the organizers for Retro Future Fest, and then I remember when I think the photo was reshared, and we were just like, wait, we're all in the same picture, and we didn't realize that. So we basically met by proxy through a picture, but not like, hey, hi, I'm Rob, I'm Joe, I'm Marilyn, and so these are the guys I would love to meet in the flesh, in real life, for real, um, the next time I go to London. Um, and the same thing goes with Lost Outrider. Actually, we actually knew we followed each other before, and then only when I went back to France, I was just like, "Wait, is that you?" And he's like, "Yes, that's me," and I'm just like, "Yeah, that was me." So we didn't get around to talking at the festival, but we somehow are linked, were, saw each other there, or was linked there. So
Right.
that's I don't have any really wild and crazy story, but yeah, that's one of my fondest memories actually. So
I do think one of these days we need to take me, you, Joe, and Rob need to take a picture all together. We need to at least be in the same room together at least
I
once.
I would love to go back to London, England, and which I hope that we could be all in the next festival there, maybe next year, 2024. Um, because you obviously love London. I would be like to be there a little bit longer, and maybe this time around meet a little more of the artists and people in the scene who's as influential, much more influential than me. And I also have to mention, I hope Jules Neon Fox comes down to London so that I can
Yeah,
get to.
there. Yes, yes, Jules. If you are seeing this, yes, let's. We need to all meet. Yes, like I want to get all of us all together just in one spot, just so we could just make that happen, make the
Like
whole
a 10
universe
year high
collide.
school
Yeah,
reunion or something,
of us all
everyone
knowing
in
each
the
other
same
from
place
online.
there.
Yeah, through the scene. Yeah, I feel like that's what we need to. That needs to happen. So
Mhm.
speaking of that, one of the last questions I gotta ask you is like, what would you like to see happen in the scene, and what kind of shows you want to see, and what you want to be involved in? Like, what do you feel? What do you feel like it's gonna
I,
happen?
I, I personally would love to be in another festival or two, if I could get involved, help around, even if it's just for um, the fun of it, unpaid. I'd be glad to help out, and yeah, another retro future fest or another outrun in the sun. I would also love for the French scene to bloom a little bit more. Maybe if it's a possibility, get a couple of artists from England or from the US to come down, because there is a scene. We have fans here. Um, it's Yeah, that's what I love, and definitely get the French artists involved as well. So I. I'm based here, so basically, if there's something involved here, I would like to be there. But
I
yeah,
know
more
I
festivals.
I know for sure I want to try to get something going on over there too. That's because I do know that there is a scene there, and I do think that it has a lot of potential for a lot of growth, and that's something that I'm pretty sure I'm hoping for 2024 we could try to make happen. Either between 2024 or 2025, we'll try to see if we can get some synthwave shows going for sure. I know that's something I've been trying to work on to myself. I've been trying to get more involved back into the scene, trying to get more stuff going on. So hopefully, maybe next year, this coming year, we'll see if we can get some more stuff going on for the scene up in Paris. So Marilyn,
Yeah, maybe we can just like, yeah, brainstorm together and you know get information and just see how it goes.
we gotta go back to the old school. We got to try to find someone to let us like borrow their storage house or their warehouse, and we just throw a little bit of an underground synthwave show there.
In
Try to
person.
and just bring them all in, do some guerrilla marketing, and go completely old school with it.
Exactly, exactly.
But Marilyn,
You-
thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I know it's late over there, or I know you got a hefty schedule you have to keep. So thank you. I appreciate you being there. I appreciate our friendship so much because we've been friends for such a long time, and I'm very happy to have known you and got to know you for the last couple of years. Um, you got one more song for us, so please tell the people out there what the song is, and let's get out with a bang.
Okay, this next song is a track which I've discovered through none other than Sin Zone. Thanks to you, Ray. Thanks to you. And I remember this was on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
and when the song came up, obviously the title itself, it was a dead giveaway, but I needed to know who the artist was. And I remember you were just spitting out every single name of different artists that you had played, and I'm just like, no, not this one, no, not this one. It's the one with the title, with the name. And then I remember like, oh, this one. So may I present to you this song, which has become one of my favorites. It's Catstronaut 84, and the song title is Jessie, which is a name I really love since I was young. So basically, Um, Here we go. Jesse, Castronaut 84. And thank you very much, Ray, for having me on the show today. It's been a pleasure. And like you, I really treasure our friendship. And you're one of the person I know that the friendship is going to go until we're gray and old. That's for sure.
All right, everyone. Here's Jesse. Thank you guys for tuning in to Sin Zone, and see you guys on the next one.